I think we are live now.
Welcome everyone. My name is Manish Shah. I'm the Midwest Chapter Lead of HSCRF. In my day job, I'm Professor of Management at Lake Forest Graduate School. Let's use today's holistic science expert. Dr. Sailesh Mehta, or we call him Dr. Sailesh Anandji, is a practicing ophthalmologist who owns a hospital in Vadodara, India. From his childhood, he was curious about the deeper truths of life. He came in touch with self-realized holistic scientist Sri M. Patel, and through his grace, Dr. Mehta attained self-realization in 1977. Dr. Mehta is a celibate and is deeply experienced in the field of holistic inner science. He devotes his time to studying, researching, and spreading the message of holistic inner science. In his quest to spread the message of holistic science, he has traveled to countries such as USA, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. His speeches on holistic science have been well received at national and international conferences. He is the author of several books, which include Introduction to Holistic Science and Integral Living and Science of Liberation. Welcome, Sailesh Anandji.
So my hearty greetings to all of you across the world, and I'm happy to be with you all.
So Sailesh Anandji, last time we talked about wealth and how body is nature's wealth that is bestowed upon us. Today we are going to explore mind. So the first question is, how is the mind formed?
Okay, so when if we shortly recapitulate our past talks, wealth means resources available to us as a human being to attain our purpose or goal of life. So amongst the various resources, we had talked about money, which the world considers as a main wealth. We had talked about body. Now we'll talk today about the mind. So mind, body, and speech is my natural asset or the wealth. And then my understanding, my intellect, my skills or abilities, my intents, and my vision, all these comprise how best I'm going to use my life moment to moment. So having said that, let's start with a humorous question. Who is driving us? Even in a driverless car, there are hidden drivers in the form of sensors. and and in any other car, we certainly look at the driver who is really driving the car. If the driver is good, we'll be safe and reaching the destination. So when we pause upon this question, who is driving me, people say, oh wow, I'm driving myself, but who is really that I? So when I look within, there is whole inner machinery of mind. People say it's in one word is mind, but it's really whole inner machinery in the form of mind, reflective consciousness, intellect, and ego. And it is further under the influence of my beliefs and opinions. It's further shadowed or influenced by my inner weaknesses of anger, greed, pride, deceit, attachments, or aversions. What's my intent or motive behind doing any particular thing, and my deeper understanding. So this whole inner machinery, that's why the logo of the holistic inner science, or our logo, is discover the world within, know your inner self. This is where if I can know my inner self functioning machinery scientifically, systematically, not only I'll be able to make best use of that, but it will give me the power, or the, in fact, the command how best to guide and steer through my various situations of life, and how best to use my natural wealth. So having said that, now as you have posed the question, let's come to mind. And all over the world, thousands of psychologists, psychiatrists, various scientists, or various seekers have been studying, trying to understand, researching about the mind. There has been a lot of things which has come about the power of subconscious mind also, and trying to teach the people what is subconscious mind, what's conscious mind, and how best to use the mind. Leaving that aside for the time being, we'll come back to it in a detail. What is mind and how does it function? So if I look within, there are continuously thoughts after thoughts after thoughts after thoughts, relevant or irrelevant, whether liked by me or not liked by me. So mind has two parts. The gross mind or the discharge mind continuously keeps on showing me the thoughts. Now here is the question sometimes, that how to stop the mind. The people say when they have unwanted thoughts, when the mind is very aggrieved or disturbed, they just try to stop it or pause it or let me quieten it. But sometimes various efforts also fail. People have gone to Himalayas in India. Himalaya is considered to be a place where you can quieten the mind, but still, still, still they are struggling with the mystery that how to stop the mind, because the manufacturer has conveniently forgotten to put the pause switch and stop switch, which otherwise is available in all the gadgets of the world. But here there is no stop switch and no pause switch. So mind has the main function, gross mind has the main function of showing thoughts after thoughts, thoughts after thoughts. So I should understand what's how to use it. And when I try to understand that, the inside there's a whole parliamentary system. For example, it is Sunday evening at your place. The mind will show the thought that, okay, let's join to the Holistic Inner Science online talk. Somebody's mind will show that, oh no, it's only one Sunday, precious Sunday evening. Let's go out and have some good breakfast at somewhere, or let's go out to the friend's place, or this laundry is remaining, let's finish that laundry. So mind will show various options for one particular task or moment what should be done. Then there is an inner parliamentary system like your Washington or our Delhi, and the reflective consciousness takes the pictures. Sitting here, it can come to your place in USA. Sitting here, it can go anywhere without ticket. It doesn't need a ticket. So reflective consciousness is a part which people say visualize. In outer world, people are using this reflective consciousness in a way, sort of visualizing. So that is knowing and seeing. The intellect tries to decide what is in my benefit or not. And once the decision is taken between mind and intellect, or reflective consciousness and intellect, Mr. President ego signs it or has to sign it, and the function starts. So unless there is a consensus or a decision within, and unless Mr. President ego has signed it, which though is otherwise powerless, because once the majority occurs, it has to sign it, the function or action will not start. So having known that, now I need to know how best to use my mind or how to deal with the mind. Once a very brilliant professor like Manish Bhai, of course Manish Bhai knows how to manage the mind because he's a professor of management, but came to the holistic scientist and said, can you please stop my mind or just make it silent, because you say you are a holistic scientist and I'm otherwise very happy, but my mind is hyperactive all the time. It just goes on hyperactively thinking here and there, and I'm a little disturbed by it. So holistic scientist said, I can do that, but you need to have the signature of 5 witnesses like we get in surgery. Because once I do that, okay, all my friends, Rajini Bhai, Kaushal Bhai, all will sign it for me. So, okay, I'll do that, but then you will be absent-minded. Would that be all right for you? Oh, no, 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 no. My wife will not allow me at home. So this is not. So the mind is a useful navigation tool, but one needs to know how to deal with the mind, how to manage the mind, or in fact, how best to use the mind and powers of mind. So here is the third key given by the holistic inner science. Let me tell you that holistic inner science has a lot of new insights and a lot of complete insights for all the people who are trying to understand mind or the inner self, or even for a layman. Because there are areas where psychiatrists or psychologists or behavioral therapists all are struggling at how to tackle this part. So how to deal with the mind? So very simple. I should keep on seeing the thoughts which are in line with my aim or goal or purpose, or which are in my benefit. I should say yes, okay, go ahead, and the action will start. But the thoughts which are taking me in other direction, which are not as per my aim or goal, or which are unwanted, I should allow them to pass away, ignore them, or not sign with them. There are so many cars passing on the street or a road beside our house. We never pay any attention who all went by, unless and until some friend is coming. So First key is we can just allow the unwanted thoughts to pass away. Second, somebody like Kaushal asked me, but then it appears that it will drag me and I can't just. So now there is a second step, that when there are some unwanted thoughts which are dragging me to some other unwanted direction, I can engage myself, disengage from that mind and engage myself into something positive, serene or inspirational. So that time will pass away. That tide or ebb tide of the mind will go away and I am engaged into something else. It's something like this, that somebody is making some noise and is not stopping, then we start a beautiful music and engage ourselves into something musical so that noise doesn't disturb us. Third key, still it is showing me lots of thoughts which appear that it will detract me. Then I can ask for inner energy against those thoughts, that, oh, pure self within me, or oh Lord, give me such an inner strength that I will go according to my aim or goal this way and I'll not have this part. Or we can have the confession, apology, and resolution. And the best thing, how to contain or control mind, it leads me to the next question. How to control the mind? People have been doing that. Surprisingly, so many meditation teachers, they try to teach us that, oh, your aim of meditation is to reach the thoughtless state. Just the mind doesn't showing you anything. But is it really scientific? Can it happen? How long can I maintain that state? Fraction of a second or more? And for that, I'm struggling for days and years. And is that meditation? No. Mind is a physical machinery. It continuously goes on showing us the thoughts as if a movie is going on a screen. But I have to know that the thing which is appearing on the movie screen is different and I as a spectator is different. I am not the mind is a tool. And I have to understand and make best use of that tool in the journey of my life. So having understood that, how to control mind, and there are two answers to that, two faceted answers. One answer is, as the water can be contained in a container, maybe your jug or maybe your flask or something, the mind can be contained by the resolving knowledge light. This is a very important fundamental principle. My mind asks me, why to me? How? Why always it occurs to me? Why somebody behaves with me like this? Why somebody doesn't appreciate me? And unless there is a resolution, unless I can resolve my mind through correct understanding, the mind will not come to rest. Even though I sit in meditation and that will pop up first. Oh, why Manish Bhai behaves like this? I try to, oh, don't come right now. I'll talk to you later on. Right now I'm meditating, but it says, no, I won't answer now. So we need some resolving holistic inner science insights, and that comes by knowing the inner science of my life and living, natural laws and natural regulatory system as a whole. And each insight of holistic inner science has so much immense knowledge and exactness and correctness that in any given event it will give resolving answer or the correctness to the mind. So this is the first principle, that those who all want to contain or control or sort of tame the mind or use the mind according to the direction has to know the science of life, holistic inner science of life, living natural laws and natural regulatory system as a whole, through which I can guide my mind and resolve all the puzzles and queries raised by the mind. So this is one answer of how to control or tame or use the mind properly. The second answer is, I should know how the mind is formed, how the mind is born. As you are saying, how the mind functions, I touched the first part, that it is the function of showing me the various thoughts, after thoughts, relevant or irrelevant. It is up to me how to use and what to use and how to say sign as yes and not. Then we looked at the resolving holistic inner science insights. Now I'm going to another very wonderful aspect revealed by the holistic inner science, probably for the first time in the world, how the mind is formed and how the mind is born. Who is the father of mind? Who is the mother of mind? And holistic inner science says that opinion is the father of mind and language is the mother of the mind. So Having received this fundamental, now I have to study my mind, that what all opinions I have. And when I started studying, I was amazed that I had opinion for each and every person, even though I met for a short time in a flight, in a train, at a bus stand or bus stop or wherever. And for each event or each passing phases of life, I had some opinion, good, bad, ought to be, ought not to be, and what not, of various severities and various degrees. So my mind is nothing but bundle of opinions and beliefs in a language which I am speaking. So if I want to now modify or make best use of my mind, I should now focus on to the opinions. And obviously, if I have a negative opinion about you, no sooner somebody talks of you, I'll be annoyed. If I have a positive opinion about you, I'll be happy. My all the energy and inside will be on upper tone or uplifted, and I'll be happy no sooner somebody talks of you. So the second important key is beware of the opinions, beware of the beliefs which you are harboring. Turn it to the positive so that it can make you happy, harmonious. It can make others happy, harmonious. And the third master key is, as I said, suppose some scenes are going on the movie screen which are not liked by me, or they are going on your LED TV screen. Do you go and break the TV screen? Oh, why are you showing me this type of thoughts? Do you go and just grab on the screen to stop that? No. So be aware, step back and see that these scenes will pass away. These thoughts will pass away. I am the spectator, and the mind is passing like a movie. And when somebody is fortunate enough to have the vision and real initiation or self-realization, one knows who am I, and then becomes the knower and seer of the mind, and then can get the best command and control over the mind. The best way to control or command over the mind is just to know and see the mind as a separate entity. Be a viewer, be a knower, and then decide how best and what best to use it. I think this has laid the initial basic ground for us, and as you ask me further, we'll progress it further. And in that discussion, we'll also touch upon what the people says the powers of subconscious mind, and what holistic science has to say is the causal mind or the bhavaman or the subtle mind, and how it functions in connection to the natural regulatory system. Please go ahead.
Yeah, no, wonderful. This is a great introduction. You talked about how mind is formed, is the father and mother of mind, and, how the internal machinery functions, how these four entities, mind, intellect, ego, and reflective consciousness, how they function together to arrive at a decision. The question then becomes, what gives a rise, or what is the reason behind the thoughts that we have? So what causes the rise of a particular thought in our mind?
Okay, that's another very good question. So sometimes, suppose four friends are going and the restaurant is nearby, and one friend will have a lot of thoughts of, for example, non-veg or hard drinks, even from a distance. One, even offered on the table, will not have a single thought, even though they are very good friends. They are staying together, they are sharing together. What's the secret here? So this is to be understood, that suppose there is a farm. In a farm, no sooner you water it or the rain pours in, different things come up. So how they came up? It came up depending on what the roots or tubers or the complexes where they are underground. Similarly, my mind, gross mind I'm talking of, is made of nodes or complexes. And these nodes or complexes, no sooner the evidences come together on the outside, maybe a restaurant, maybe a stock market, maybe something else. If I have that complexes or nodes, the thoughts will start sprouting. If I don't have that complex or not, the thoughts will not come, right? So I have to, suppose if I study my mind for 1 week or fortnight or 1 month, that what all thoughts are coming in my mind. Do I have the thoughts of stock market? No, none. Do I have the stock of jewelries and gold market? And no. Do I have the thoughts of whatever, or do whatever way? So if I study my mind, how many and with what intensity the thoughts and what types of thoughts are coming, then I can know, okay, these are the complexes or notes which I have brought with me in my mind, and that's how the mind is showing me the thoughts. Now we will ask me the second question, from where the complexes or these notes came up. So that's interesting, that my previous beliefs, my previous projections in passing through the phases of life, for example, suppose I'm right now a doctor and I'm doing my medical practice. But seeing my chartered accountant brother, now I feel that, oh, better I would have been a chartered accountant. Lot of less tension, practically no tension. You can always go and correct it. And much more income than what I'm earning as a doctor out of so much of tensions. So better I would have been a chartered accountant. So my outside mind is showing me the thoughts of doctorate and medicine, but the inside I'm incurring different vows or projections. If I'm signing this, yes, oh, better I would not have been a doctor. Now this is creating a new complex or a new note, which in future will show me the thoughts, better not to be a doctor. So similarly, passing through the life, living as I am name bearer and I am doer, advertently or inadvertently, awarely or in unawareness, I keep on signing different projections or vow, and that's what is laying the notes or the complexes, and in future that will function as a gross mind to show me the different thoughts. So the thoughts or complexes are brought with me by my own self, but they are based on my past beliefs, past circumstances. Sometimes what happens, that based on that, now my mind is showing me the thoughts and the things have come together in my life. Now my understanding has changed, and now I struggle with myself and my available environment. Oh, this is not good. Why I did I? For a humorous example, you are sitting in US, so you had sown the seed that better go to some good country where lifestyle and quality of life is good, and you are there. Now your mind may be showing, oh, here there is no housemaid and all the thing has to be done by me, even though back is aching, and better I would have been at India. They have lot many servants with them. So this is how, and we sitting in India, we had boasted, no, no, we are good at India. Now we are looking at you, that better we would have been in USA. So this is how, depending on the past beliefs or past understanding and past circumstances, I had signed into the some projections which is showing or getting disposed in the form of present mind, and inside the new mind or the causal mind is getting generated based on my present understanding, my present beliefs or present resolves or projections. This the world doesn't know, and if this secret is known, one can be aware there. That is where the relative free will can be exercised, and that's how the things function. And there is one more link with the nature which will come to it later on. So the complex is, I hope I have answered your question, how the mind shows me
I
particular
think
type of thoughts. And yeah, please.
this is a great revelation in terms of the complexes that we've had result into the thoughts, which we cannot control, but the inner projections that we make based on those thoughts are what results into what we do or what results into our next life.
In the future, whatever future, I would
Yeah,
say.
or yeah, down the road. So one last question I have before we bring in the audience, Sailesh Anandji, is we talked about the food for body last time. What is the best food? How can we feed the body so it maintains, healthy balance? So what is food for mind then? Um,
Yes, very important question. I think in a modern times, in a present fast-running world, I think hardly anybody thinks about the food of mind, or hardly anybody. Most of us are unaware about what is feeding or what is the food of mind. So all the inputs which are going through five senses, what we hear, what we see, what we uh, experience, leave some impressions on the mind. So there are a lot of studies that our children on the video games and other things, and if you see the video games are fast racing and gunning and violence and other things, people are not aware that that is leaving the impression, subtle impressions in the mind. If you are providing such types of food to the mind, at some or other point, mind is going to blast at somebody, maybe uh, in a daily living or somewhere. You can't be cool and composed. So be aware of what all is food is going to the mind through five senses. So the good food of the mind should be select and never keep your mind empty. Whenever your daily tasks are done and the mind has a free time, keep engaged into something positive, something serene or inspirational. Read something which will give you the higher dimension. Any direction of the life you want to progress. If you want to become a better scientist or a scientist, read those things. If you want to become know your inner self, read the holistic inner science. If you want to become a better athlete, read something about who has and how they have accomplished the better goals. So the idea is, first is to decide our aim or goal. Are we clear about our aim or goal in the life? As long as I'm not knowing my aim or goal, whatever the natural asset I have in the form of body or mind, how I'm going to use it, which direction. So having known my aim or goal or direction, I should give the food to my mind, which is inspiring, which is empowering in those directions, including my inner self, and that will keep engaging the mind into the higher and higher purposes or goals. Second thing, as I already said, that never keep the mind empty, because empty mind is devil's workshop. Empty means free mind, I would say. When it has no task, it will keep on looking at some or other thing. So always give some good food, or give the food which will be making best use of those moments or those available times. You have time while driving the car, you can listen something. You have time while traveling in a train, people can read something inspirational. You have all the time. Or if not, make appointment with the self. Find out time for yourself. Write down in a daily diary that this is the appointment with my own self, or nobody else, even not for wife, or wife not for husband. Few moments for myself, and with myself and for myself. And believe me, that will give a lot of inner insights coming from within, because the whole treasure of infinite knowing power, infinite seeing power is within, and there is universal connectivity. That's what really the people are trying to do in a meditation, that shut down the doors of five senses, go within, be within with the self, and see how inspirational or the other higher things we get connected. So this is very, very important. And I would, in at least, especially in the present world, when everybody has a smartphone in the hand and it keeps on showing you all the things of the world, and it is in our hand to decide what, select and discriminate what to see, not see, hear, not hear, what type of food to give to the mind or not to give to the mind. Of course, the mind also has a relation to the gross food or our body food which we are taking. If I go and eat in the restaurant, and if I have versus the fresh homemade food, that has some impact on the mind. But here I am talking about the food of mind through five senses, and which I am giving, and also coming through my heart from within.
Yeah, and I think this is wonderful, because it used to be the idiot box that used to occupy our life, and now it's WhatsApp, because there's something or the other popping in every other second, so we are always distracted.
Yeah, it can show us the useful things also, but one
Right.
has to be very, very selective that what to look for and what all to shut off, or
Absolutely.
not to go for that.
No, I think that's a good point. Even with WhatsApp or with television, there are choices we can make that can be healthy for our mind.
The
So
same technology,
yeah,
the same technology which is posing some threats, has wonderful potential to bringing all the good things of the world to our fingertip and to
yeah,
us.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So
I think exactly what we are doing right now. You're in India, we're in US, and there is a way we are able to connect and benefit our viewers. So absolutely, technology can be used for very, very good purposes. So Sailishanji, I want to bring in our first question of the day. If you could please introduce yourself and ask question, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Rajnikant Patel from Allentown, Pennsylvania. I'm a retired mechanical engineer and I'm writing books for the children. Shailesh Anandji, it was a nice introduction you gave us, but I want to, being a scientist, I want to follow a little bit about how the mind is born. You said that you have the opinion and then you have the speech. Now, I want to take a little bit further how scientifically the thought is born. Suppose I am talking to you and we are talking about a third person and we say he's a good person, this thing, then how does new thoughts get born from this conversation? Can you please detail a little bit more?
Yeah. So, uh, if I first elaborate into simpler aspects, if I have opinion about the third person or somebody, maybe Kaushal Bhai sitting across, and once I express that opinion, it becomes consolidated or a solid one, and at the same time it attracts the atoms and molecules from outside. Now when I say it attracts the atoms or molecules from outside, I have to take you to a little that aspect of the thing, that the human form is a most wonderful science. Science is a knowledge. Not necessarily it should be limited or contained in the laboratories based or on the tools evolved by the five senses, but any knowledge. Science has come from the Latin word scientia, or knowledge. So it's an unique ongoing live experiment of the universe where there is a conscious or one element, somebody says Atman or somebody says conscious, is there, and another element is a matter having the form, smell, taste, touch, etc. So, living as I am, when I express this opinion or projection, the in presence of conscious, in presence of believed I am name bearer and I'm doer, the atoms or molecules are getting attracted in positive, and they are printed positively or negatively, and they are stored within as if they are stored in our hard drive. And now with a changing time, we have a very smaller hard drive storing. Oh.
It seems we
Looks
are
like
having internet
Silicon.
connectivity issues.
Yeah. Okay. I will call him and see follow up.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
He seems to be connected. It's just that maybe the connection is not broken on his side.
Yes, I do see his picture, so yeah, you're right.
I see you online.
Seems he has rejoined, but don't see him online yet.
Yeah, we see you online, but we don't hear you. Cannot hear you or communicate online. Maybe it's coming through. He said he lost his internet connection and he's trying to join back.
Yeah, sure.
They made it like you see him but no voice yet.
So while we are waiting, Manish bhai,
Yeah.
if you can little bit brief us on what is holistic science and our website and some of the articles you are posting.
Yeah, sure. So, holistic inner science is the science of inner living. It's, you know, developing an understanding of mind, speech, body, and how we can effectively utilize those towards the betterment of us, of self, and betterment of humanity. And we have a website which is hscrf.org that has a lot of articles and videos and other information about holistic inner science. Again, it's hscrf.org. You can
Hello.
also find us on our YouTube channel. Okay, I think we are back on air.
Can you hear us? Yeah, fine.
Yeah, we can hear you, Shanji.
So this is where we all need to have some resolving vision which can keep our mind steady for the interruption. That though our intentions are good, though all our efforts are good, there are so many circumstantial evidences required for one particular event, including internet, smooth flow across the thousands of miles, and something was not correct, something interrupted in the part of technology. Similarly, some other things can be there. So this leads me to one sidetrack, that so many times our mind gets haywire or becomes disturbed, that why it happened this way, why it didn't go my way, why I could not succeed despite such a hard effort. There I need to know what is in my hand and what is not, in all under my independent control, how the things are functioning. And the holistic inner science says a beautiful short description, that do your best according to best of your ability, skill, care, and caution. Put your part. But there are so many scientific circumstantial evidences required, and in the present age of science, we understand science very well. Here the internet is a science, Google is a science, so it needs so many scientific circumstantial evidences. Even if one of the evidence lacking, and the thing will not go the way you want it to go. So having tried your best, accept the happening as whatever has happened is just incorrect, because it involves so many scientific circumstantial evidences which will keep your mind not only balanced and steady but positive. So let's continue our journey positively, Rajni bhai. Sorry for that interruption which was not in my hand. So we were talking about the causal mind and opinion and speech, or the language, not speech but the language. So suppose I'm inside, my inner state of being is to help someone, and if I agree into that, then I'm inviting those sorts of atoms and molecules. My inner state is to slap someone, and if I'm staying with that and signing that, I'll attract the atoms and molecules which are printed like that. So this is the subtle science, that my inner state of being, where I'm signing with what opinion ought to be, ought not to be, should be, should not be, good or bad, and when it's expressed, it is an indirect signature. It's indirect my signature. Without signature, nothing happens even in the outer world. Similarly, nothing happens even in the inner world. But the people are not aware how I'm signing it, because that is a digital signature, even beyond digital signature. So I hope this is clear. So once it is expressed, it becomes a new mind, causal mind.
That's why there's a confusion when you say express a language, but also you alluded that the language is not expressed outwardly, but it is expressed internally. That is the real
Yes.
crux of the matter, right?
Yes, the inner world. See, there is another very simple one sentence fundamental. Whatever is seen, perceived, and experienced through five senses outside in the world are effects or fruits or results. The seeds which are being sown are within, which cannot be seen outside. Only you as a knower and perceiver, if you are aware, can see what types of seeds are being sown. So the new formation is always within, which cannot be perceived or seen outside. Whatever is seen outside is the fruits. The seeds are being sown inside.
Thank you very much for clarification, because that speech and language was confusing, but that's all internal speech and language which binds the thought.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
The language is the vehicle to express the mind, but basically it's inner projections based on the opinions and understanding.
Thank you. This clarifies a lot. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have a second question from audience.
Hi, thank you, Sailashanji. This talk has been very engaging. I've particularly enjoyed when you're describing the distinction between the gross and the causal mind, as well as the ego presiding over and signing off on those thoughts. My question is, you mentioned briefly about reflective consciousness. Can you dive a little bit deep in that, describing what the reflective consciousness and how it relates to the mind?
Oh, this is another lovely area. I'll keep it very short that reflective consciousness, see, when I say reflective, obviously there is a question, consciousness and reflective consciousness. So it is a part of conscious or a pure soul or a pure self, but it is getting reflected through my beliefs, ego, or the beliefs I'm name bearer, I'm doer, I'm doctor, whatever it is. And there is another pure conscious. So knowing and seeing put together is a reflective consciousness. So reflective consciousness, people say, it's my being, my presence. And it takes pictures. It shows me sitting here, picture of airport, it can show me the picture of mountains, it can wander outside, it can go inside. Second important thing is its function is to experience the things, the happiness, unhappiness, everything is being experienced through this reflective consciousness, because it's a part of consciousness which coupled with the beliefs or coupled with the prints or imprints I have brought with me. But why it is important? Because it is this reflective consciousness which is very, very important for all my experiences, all the powers being used outside or inside, used properly or getting wasted, and for all my wanderings or charges and discharges. So all the things ultimately are for the purification of the reflective consciousness. And how this reflective consciousness wanders inside or outside, no sooner I sit for meditation or no sooner I sit for my puja maybe once in a week or whatever time I have in this fast-paced busy schedule, I feel that my reflective consciousness should be with me, but it starts running around. It starts running to mall, it starts running to office, it starts running to something to do this, and I cannot contain it. The whole yoga, Patanjali yoga, the first purpose of yoga was to restrain the reflective consciousness and be able to keep with us, which we are not able to. We just do the physical exercise. That's good. I don't say it's not good. It does have a lot of benefits for the body. But the main purpose of my reflective consciousness, if I can harness my reflective consciousness, I can accumulate my powers, and that's known as the glory or the Aishwarya. And it has so much power that if I focus my reflective consciousness for 48 minutes or even more than 10 minutes onto something, the things will come to me. If my body part is paining and if I neutrally focus my reflective consciousness onto that as a knower and seer, that will start healing. Reiki also is a type of some powers of reflective consciousness which in connection with the natural energy which is trying to be guided there. So this reflective consciousness is a very vast and wonderful subject, but I have just tried to say in short, how does it wander and where does it wander? Mostly it wanders at the places where our one or other time our belief of happiness is or was there. Whatever things we felt that it would make me happy, it keeps on wandering there, it keeps on trying to find happiness from there. But we all have the experience that in outside changing things, it gives us happiness for some time and we get bored with that thing and then we find the new one. So when it finds my true home, my pure self, it has the bliss and the reflective consciousness starts getting steady into my own pure self, or it starts getting purified, reflective consciousness. So this is how it, reflective consciousness is very, very important and much more important, at least than the gross mind. Gross mind is a physical thing, it just shows us the thoughts, whereas it's the reflective consciousness and intellect and ego which plays the rest of the role. So the answer is very simple. You will ask me then how do I best make use of my reflective consciousness? So engage, show it superior happiness. Show it the happiness which will lead you on a ladder upwards. It will lead to upliftment and if possible to self-realization. And automatically the reflective consciousness will grab the superior one and leave the inferior one.
Thank you. Would it be accurate to say that then the reflective consciousness is like the pictures for the movie and the thoughts that are wandering through the mind?
Yeah, the mind is showing the scenes which are going through the movie, and the reflective consciousness, me speaking, sitting as a spectator who is knowing and seeing the things. So it's this reflective consciousness which is knowing and is performing the role of knowing and seeing. When I have the ignorant belief, I feel that, oh, I saw and I experienced, because it goes through the filter of my beliefs. When I have the pure consciousness, then I feel that, oh, I am just the knower and seer, free of the attachments and aversions, or free of the duality and opinions. So this is the part. So it's impure reflective consciousness versus the purified or pure reflective consciousness, which we say term is the pure self or the pure soul or the realization part.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We have time for one last question from the audience.
Sailashanji, I have one question, which is that whenever we want to not have an opinion with anybody, but you say we divert ourselves with music or something else, but if you keep on seeing that person, say you're in a plane and you see somebody and you want to give out an opinion as it just comes out that naturally from you, and you don't want to because you know you're going down the wrong path, you're locked in a plane for the next 4 hours. How do you keep on engaging yourself that you don't go down that path of giving an opinion?
Very good. So first and foremost, before I really answer your question, let me ask you, when you have positive opinion about somebody, does it make you happy first? Even before you express for somebody else and the other person is happy, if you have a positive opinion about Manish Bhai or Rajani Bhai, even before you express, do you become happy first?
Yes.
And even before you have adverse opinion for somebody, even before you express, does it disturb you?
Yes.
Does your face take the selfie when you are having the bad opinion about somebody, and that will provide a good biofeedback mechanism. Oh, my face is not lovely at this time, it's a frown face. I don't like to look at my own face or my own selfie. I want to have a freely smiling face. So the first important fundamental of the whole holistic science is each subtle or gross thing going on within or without does affect me first positively or negatively. So that convinces me beyond doubt that, okay, I should have something which helps me, which keeps me happy, or means positive. So I understand that you are locked in a plane for 4 hours, and your neighbor or somebody sitting across you, the mind is not enjoying. So convert something into positive. And ultimately, all the human beings are like different plants and trees in a garden of a nature. And rose may have a thorn, but if you look at thorn, you will be disturbed. If you look at the flower, you will be happy. So everybody may have something positive. And simpler trick, since you are talking about the plane, the wise old men do that. I know of one person. He shares his breakfast, which is, would you like to have? I'm anyway not going to have. Oh, thank you, thank you. Even if it takes or doesn't take, the atmosphere becomes positive. It is in your hand how to keep it positive. Your some small gesture, a small smile, offering something small. Oh, can I make you more comfortable? How can something? And the things will change for positive. So nothing is totally negative, nothing is totally positive. So I have to learn how to change my mind and look at positive or make it positive. So after all, he or she is a good person, and as I said, if I make some friendly gesture, any person would turn positive and good for me. So this is how we have to learn the art of positivity, or learn the art of how to change the mind. And when you are saying about the plane you can be as happy because nobody disturbs you. You can be in your inner world and enjoy.
Yes.
So if you are getting disturbed in a plane, I think you should be penalized. That nobody is really interfering in you. You are going and getting trapped. But at home, at workplace, where really the people interferes in you, oh, come on, wait, we are there with you. Why don't you do this
Mhm.
way? There you have to learn the art of inner freedom and inner positivity. How can you keep yourself free from within, and how can you keep yourself positive from within when the people are encroaching on you with so-called negativity?
Yeah,
And you can do that. And you can do that. So that's the art you must learn.
sure. That actually opens up a lot of new thoughts which we need to focus on. So
Yes.
this is
So
really helpful.
there is nobody in the outside world. Does outside world affect us more, or is responsible for all our happiness and unhappiness, or is it inside world which is most responsible?
Inside
And
world.
it is said very nicely, but in practical life, it's
Yes.
always river. It's always river.
It's all
Our finger
true.
is pointing at somebody else only. And when our
Yes.
finger is pointing to the outside world, I remind myself, oh, where is the remote? Is it with us, or has it gone somewhere else? Let me find my remote and keep it with me. I don't want to give my remote to somebody else.
But Shaileshanji, the mind is so quick in giving out opinions. I mean, the reaction time between you feeling uneasy and giving out an opinion, even internally,
Fine, I understood
is
your
very
point.
quick.
It's just a fraction of a second before you even try for response, the reaction comes. I understood that point. No matter, that's fine. There is always a mode of correction. Something came out of you. Inside, you can talk to yourself. Oh, why? Look at something. Let's look at the other aspect of the story, and you
Mhm.
can correct it. There is always scope of correction in
Yeah.
everything and anything. If you have gone the wrong lane, you can, even GPS says nicely, please take legal U-turn, please take legal U-turn.
Yes.
So, so inside you can talk to yourself. I understand, because the expression reaction would be very fast. But then inside we talk, inside we change ourselves, and then next moment we can come out with, but after all, he's very cooperative, but after all, he's knowledgeable, but after all, he does the job in a nicer way. So your speech, which has expressed the negative opinion, once you talk to your inner self and change, the mind gets changed, now can talk the second sentence, which is positive and which will nullify the first negative one.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
so everything is available, don't worry.
Yes. This is really helpful.
Science is one which even Einstein said should be easy, should be practical, should be result giving. If it is
I think
complicated, it
that's
is
So
not a
true.
science. Or the scientist doesn't know the science, or doesn't know how to apply or express it.
Yes.
right. That is a nice way to end this talk. So thank you everybody for joining. We covered a lot of ground today. Shailesh Anandji unveiled a lot of mysteries of the mind. How is it formed? Who is the father and the mother of the mind? How are decisions being made by the four entities that form the mind? You know, the mind, the intellect, the ego, and reflective consciousness. And also we talked about how we can use reflect the mind to our advantage. What is the right food for the mind? We talk about food for the body, but Shailesh Anandji talked about food for mind. We are going to continue unveiling more mysteries of the mind in our next talk, which is going to be on Sunday, February 28th. If you need more information about HSCRF and We have a lot of articles and videos on our website, and our website is hscrf.org. Again, it's hscrf.org. So thank you everybody for joining, and we'll see you next month. Good night.
And if any viewers has any questions, they can pass it on to the website or the contact people, and we can try to include that in a future talk, or even we can try to answer that in between, I think. So let's keep it lively and interactive and friendly as much as we can. I don't want to keep my question pending till your next talk. So I should have the thing to pass it on. Okay.
Yep. Good point.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Good
Thanks,
night.
all of you.